Hey guys, welcome back to another Titus Diorama and ToyReviews. In today's video we are going to be looking at the masked variant of Dark Wolverine Daken from the Marvel Legends series. So let's get to it. Alright guys, here's Daken out of the packaging. Now before I go into the sculpting, paint, and articulation, I want to share some information about this character that the figure is based on and the importance of the figure. First, Daken is the biological son of Wolverine, otherwise known as Logan, and the brother to Wolverine's clone / daughter, X-23, otherwise known as Laura. He shares their same healing factor, reduced aging, claws, and hypersenses. However, he is immune to telepaths and he has pheromone manipulation, meaning he is able to manipulate people around him to do what he wants using his pheromones. Now, the figure is based on his appearance in the Dark Avengers story arc from the comics. And the reason why this figure is important is because it was released in one of the first waves of Marvel Legends of 2012, labeled The Return of Marvel Legends. You see, back in 2007, Hasbro acquired the licensing and production of Marvel Legends from Toy Biz. That year, Hasbro flooded the market with 4 back-to-back Marvel Legend waves. However, 2008 would only see 1 wave being released, and nothing to the disappointment of toy collectors were released in 2009. Now, in 2010 at the San Diego Comic-Con, Hasbro announced that the line was not dead and that they were working on new figures to be released. It still would take another 2 years before we would see the return to Marvel Legends. Now, even though this was a newer Marvel Legends, meaning most likely that it wasn't created by Toy Biz to be released, I have a feeling that the 2007 and 2008 releases or waves were solely Hasbro getting rid of all the inventory of all the figures that had been created by Toy Biz so they could start anew. However, Hasbro wasn't stupid and they knew that they had body molds that they could reuse to make new comic book figures. So that's what they did here with Daken. They reused that already existing body molds that they had to create this figure. And how we can tell that is because for the most part Daken shares the same articulation that the Toy Biz figures did. Reduced, mind you, but he still has that same similar type style. Later body molds would actually lose even more of the articulation, and what I'm talking about is you would lose the toe articulation, the butterfly joints and the shoulders would be lost. They would change up the hip mechanisms for the legs, and eventually you would even go from being able to do the full splits to smaller and smaller angles at the legs. That stated, guys, I think that Daken here is in a great sculpt. He does pull off the particular character he's supposed to. I would really love to see Hasbro revisit this particular character and make a new one on the newer body molds that we now currently have. When you see the comparisons at the end of this video, you're going to be able to tell that he is a bit smaller, or like thinner, than a lot of the newer Marvel Legends that we have nowadays. A couple complaints I do have about this figure is to do with the articulation, mainly in the ankles. The ankles are very loose, so if you don't get him balanced just right, like he is right now, he will topple over. And one of the reasons why I have such a problem with having him out on display is that he tends to topple over because of that and knock over a lot of my other figures. But let's go ahead and take a look at the sculpting here. As I said, you can see they've got a lot of great sculpting. You can see like the lines in the shirt. The arms are just kind of flat. There's no veins or anything in there. I do like the paint that they have for his tattoo. It came out really nice and crisp. The paint on this entire figure came out really nice and crisp. There is no paint rub or paint wear or anything like that, or splotches that you can see with that. The head sculpt is really, really nice. I do like that head sculpt on there. Now he, like I said, is the variant or the masked variant, I should say, of Daken. There is an unmasked variant that has the mohawk, which looks really cool. The belt here is nicely done. It is a separate piece, so it does move around. His claws are really nicely done on here as well. In the comics, he does not have these coated in aluminium, so they're true to the form there. He also does have a secondary or a third claw that comes out of the bottom of his wrist that these figures do not have. So let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. So Daken's head can look up this far, so quite far up. And it can look this far down, so a really great range there. He can look left and right, of course. He does have a little bit of rocker there, so you can get his head tilted a little bit. He does have butterfly joints. Mind you, they're not as good as the brand new butterfly joints that Marvel Legends have nowadays, but they are there, which is really cool. His shoulders can go this far up. Of course, they can do a full 360. He does have the upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows that give him about 90-degree of range there. He does have a swivel at the upper wrist. That's one of those pieces of articulation that does get lost afterwards. He does have the swivel at the wrist. And he does have the hinge, of course, as well. He does have the swivel at the waist. He has an ab crunch that allows him to go this far forward, this far back. And he does have the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And he does have ankle pivot, and his feet can point this far up, quite far back. And he does have toe articulation. Now, with the hips on this guy, this is a little unique. Hasbro did change from this. But basically, if you want him to do the splits like this, you have to change the ball point in order to do that. So if you want him to kick forward, again, you have to change it so you can kick it forward. This is a bit of a nuisance because, as you can see, if you're trying to move the upper thigh, it moves the actual ball joint itself. And I am glad that they went away from this particular version. Now, I spoke about the looseness of the articulation, and you'll see why here in a second, because he likes to fall over due to those ankle pivots not being the best. And it takes some doing to get him to actually stand up. Anyway, guys, let's move on to some comparisons. And here is Daken beside his sister, X-23. And here he is beside his father, Logan or Wolverine, in his tiger stripe suit. And here he is standing alongside his father once again in the same identical suit. Here he is beside Old Man Logan. Here he is beside Weapon X. Here he is beside Omega Red. And finally, here he is beside Sabretooth. Overall, guys, I'm really glad to have Daken in my collection. He does really help me fill out my rogues gallery of Wolverine figures. And as you guys all know, I'm a big Wolverine fan. If you're looking to pick one of these up yourself, you can find him in his masked or unmasked variant on eBay or Amazon, but be very aware that you're going to be paying anywhere between $50 and $100 to pick one up. Guys, I really hope that you enjoyed my video today. I always enjoy putting these videos together for you guys. If you did, please make sure you click the like button below. Also leave a comment if you want to. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and click on the bell notification so that way you can be notified with any new videos on my action figures or any diorama reviews that I do. And as always, guys, stay nerdy.